Hello, and thank you as always for clicking on this video and joining me today. This is a little bit different from my usual fashion hauls because today I'm actually going to be making a grave posy, and this is to go on my late husband's grave. So my materials today, let's start with the basics. I am doing a dried flower arrangement purely because of the time of year. I find if I put fresh flowers down in the summer, they just wilt and they just dry up. And also in winter, you find that the water freezes and they just shrivel and die. So I do tend to put fake flowers on the grave and change them quite regularly. So the first item I'm going to be using is some oasis foam, and this is the type that you use if you are using fake flowers. You can also get oasis foam for fresh flowers, which you soak so that it's absolutely sodden with water and then put your flowers in. But for today, I'm going to be using this dry oasis. Obviously my tools of trade: a serrated steak knife, a pair of scissors and a small little pair of cutters. My flowers, I have 3 bunches of flowers. These very inexpensive. I think I paid £1 a bunch. Please don't think I'm a cheapskate for my husband's memorial, but that's how much they cost. Blue, of course. Yellow, because that was his favourite colour, and if I see yellow, it reminds me of him. And white as a bit of contrast. Believe it or not, the little pot I'm going to be using is an empty tuna pot, and I find this is the perfect size just to fit on the grave. I can't have anything that's too big and it's not too deep, and I'll leave the foam over the top and be able to put in all the flowers. So I have started to snip off all the flowers from the bunch, and that's quite an easy process. You just take your sharp clippers. At this stage, I will tend to use this, let the stem be as long as possible, because you can always trim more off. So you just go through, cutting off all the little spears of flowers that are on the stem. And this one is particularly hard, actually. There you go. And you're just left with nothing really. So I'll go through the process and do these others, possibly off camera, or you may see it. I'm not sure how this is going to be edited. So, got my oasis foam. I'm going to switch to the overhead camera now so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so my oasis foam and my pot. What I'm going to do is just roughly trim around. As you can see, it is so easy to trim this oasis, and I'm just using the butter knife, the steak knife rather, to do that. Right, so I've sort of got a rough shape of it. These might be useful for other flower arrangements, but this is an offcut, as I already have started with. So now I'm going to push all the way down that I can. That means that is pushed in quite securely, and I can start breaking off these excess parts of the thingy. Now I should counter this and say I am obviously not a trained florist. This is just something, a skill that I sort of had to learn for obvious reasons, and it's ever so messy stuff, by the way. So So that looks pretty rough, doesn't it? But you don't have to worry about it. I would say it's slightly still too tall, so I'm just going to take a sliver off of the top. Got a bit of a gap there. I might stuff that just to be secure. But really, at this stage, it doesn't matter. And that's why I feel it's important that I do this, because it's just important that you have a go. So, the Oasis foam is in the pot. Like I said, I just use what's around the house. I have got specialist ones, but they're actually at the grave at the moment. I've already trimmed all the white flowers, so now I'm going to do the same for the yellow. You could just got to get those pliers in the right point. And just remove that label. Right, just push those leaves up on that one, because I was going to cut below the leaf line. It's not a big problem. You can always just thread the leaves back on if they do fall off, or if a flower bud falls off. Like I said, these flowers were very inexpensive from a local sort of budget shop, really, I suppose you would call it. So as you can see, that is so rough, really. I might just level that off just a little bit better. But that is just, the Oasis is just so roughly placed in there. And it hopefully is all going to get covered. I was a little bit concerned that I didn't have enough flowers. So I have actually just nipped out into the garden and picked up some little bits of greenery. It was there when we moved in, so I couldn't tell you what it's called. I'm not green fingered at all, hence maybe the artificial flowers. So moving to the overhead camera. So what I'm going to start by doing is placing these bits of greenery around the bottom, and this is just to hide where that Oasis is going into the pot. Now obviously this is not Oasis for real flowers, so these bits of greenery will dry out and possibly not last that long. But I don't tend to leave my floral arrangements there at the grave very long, because what I find is that the flowers fade. So I am literally just going around, just placing that in there, just to get my shape and my form, and to hide that Oasis a little bit better. I may actually have to go back out and get some more. Oh, sorry for the crinkle, I just lost my scissors. Different pair of scissors here. So I'm putting it in so it falls downwards, or if it hasn't, downwards, so it's hiding that tin and that part of the Oasis. But that is getting pretty full and covered there. So just a couple more bits, and like I say, if I feel I need any more, I'll just do another quick trip into the garden, even though it's raining. July, would you believe? And we've got all this horrible rainy weather. So yes, I've gone in a circle around, and that is just giving me that frame and that base. Now I can start working with my artificial flowers. I thought the greenery tied in quite nicely. Gary's favourite colour was yellow. So I'm going to start with this beautiful, great big yellow flower in the middle. I'm not a trained florist, but they will tell you to go symmetrical and to keep it in the dome shape. To be perfectly honest, I don't know what I do. I just instinctively put a flower here and put a flower there. It seems to work out most of the time, and I think sometimes you can tend to overthink it, and that's probably not the best thing. Now I've only got 2 yellow flowers left, so I'm going to leave it at that stage. I've got like a triangle of yellow flowers. Now let's go in with maybe the more dominant colour, the blue, and surround that centre yellow flower. I may have cut the stem of that one a little bit short, because as I pushed it in, I could tell that it went in a little bit too far. Sometimes you meet a bit of resistance where there is already the stem of the flower beforehand. And can you see I'm creating this dome shape? I feel the yellow needs to come up just a little bit more, just so that that is the center point and it goes around. So I've got my triangle of yellows surrounded by the blues. I've got 2 more yellows, haven't I? So what I think now that I can see the shape evolving, I'm going to put those yellows in. So it's like 2 rings of colour. The outer ring of yellow with the centre, and then another ring of blue here. Got my yellow flower, I've got my white flowers left, and they are simply going to be used to cut in between all the colours and just add that little bit of extra fill in. Like I said, don't overthink it. See a gap with your filler, this is the time to put it in. You've got the base, you've got the colours in where you want them. So now you can instinctively just fill in those gaps with the white. I feel that I've got quite a bit of white here. That one needs to come up just a little bit. Maybe here. When you get to this stage and you've got less flowers, you get a little bit picky where you're placing them. So I'm just going to look at that now and see where I can tell here, look, there's no white. So that is where this needs to go. I've got 1 blue flower left. Do I dare to put it in and break my pattern, or do you think I should leave it out? It's a shame not to use it. I think what I'm going to do is move this blue flower over and put them together, still keeping that circle, that band of blue colour. And like I said, I don't know if this is breaks the rules of floristry. I just know that this is what I do. And how long did that take? 10 minutes maybe maximum, and it's done. I can't see any gaps. I can't see the oasis. Maybe if I peek down underneath, those little bits of fresh greenery just really do add, and I'm just lucky that they are also in that lovely yellow colour. So I hope you agree that that is a fitting tribute to my late husband. So I hope you have enjoyed watching me make this little grave posy today. Hopefully I've inspired you to have a go-to, because it really is not hard, and I think it's just a lovely way of showing your love and how much you miss somebody. I'm going to be taking this later and putting it on the grave, ready for the anniversary tomorrow. So I wasn't even sure when I started this video if I was going to upload it. I'm not sure it's going to be the best tutorial ever on how to make a flower arrangement,
But I do my best, and I hope I convey to you the techniques that I employ, which is basically stick it here, there and everywhere. But I have a go, and it is my way of honouring him by making a little posy of flowers. I am going to upload this video because people in the world need to know what a fantastic person Gary was. He was loving, caring, generous, and just a true gentleman. Gentle and a gentleman. Gary was 57, the same age as myself now, when he died. And I feel like I still have so much life to live. It's just so sad that he didn't get that opportunity to. Life is so precious. Make the most of every single day. Love your loved ones. Make friends. Go out. Be happy. And then maybe there are a few days of the year where you do feel a little bit sadder. And you do remember not only what they have lost, but what you have lost. I miss him greatly, but your life has to move on because you have that responsibility to start living for two. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry if this hasn't been an upbeat, happy video. But there are more of those to come. And as always, thank you for coming and supporting me. And goodbye for now.